Now, Farmers Weekly has this section that I turn to nearly probably straight away, apart from page 1 to 3, where all the hot goss is. New thinking. And what is covered in this week's New Thinking is something quite extraordinary. We're talking about the packaging perceptions of the Chinese. And Richard Rennie has reported that Scion researchers are looking forward to a survey that they are doing around the Chinese's consumer attitudes towards food safety and packaging. Have they changed post-COVID? A couple of years, pre-COVID, the world was absolutely obsessed with packaging. But now food security and safety is certainly something that we value more. Are we starting to swing back to that? 2 years ago, research into this consumer attitudes in the wake of numerous food scares was done and revealed, perhaps unsurprisingly, that they were more concerned about food safety than sustainable packaging. This is the Chinese. So we're joined now by Dr Florian Graichen, the General Manager of Forest to Bio-based Products for Scion. Florian, what a cool part of Scion to work in.
Yeah, thanks very much. I think the same. It's one of the most exciting areas, and it's so relevant and so topical, not just for the packaging industry, but for us as a country as a whole, and for all our exporters.
For those who are not familiar with who Scion are, could you please explain in how they are getting into packaging?
Scion is one of New Zealand's crown research institutes, and traditionally we've been all about forestry, but now it is much more about also transitioning New Zealand to a circular bioeconomy, and packaging is absolutely critical in this transition. There will be no sustainability or sustainable economy until packaging is also sustainable.
So, I mean, we've seen a huge swing in attitudes towards a lot of things to do with COVID. And food packaging is something that I didn't give too much thoughts about. But the Chinese haven't always been as prevalent about sustainability over food safety. Or am I wrong?
That's one of the elements we would like to explore further. And traditionally, sustainability didn't play such a big role. But we all have seen the changes of ability to even export what traditionally New Zealand did, our plastics for recycling into other countries, and China said no, and other countries said no to that. So now sustainability came much more into their understanding and into their thoughts. And it was interesting to observe this until COVID started, and suddenly across the whole world, sustainability, climate change nearly disappeared. But what we're seeing now much more is the return of that the world started to understand how to live with COVID. And the discussions in packaging return now to this, the questions around sustainability, recyclability, compostability, and also food safety.
What work is going on around putting sort of pressure on manufacturers to have the recyclability of the products that we export?
For a lot of countries and a lot of parts in the world, that it will become absolutely critical. That the package in itself, or the package that has to support the product, has to fit into these recycling or compostability streams as well. So we can see that countries start banning certain substances or certain material just because of that. But it's also for the consumers. So the consumers are demanding these type of. They want to know what I'm buying, what I'm purchasing. Is this appropriate, and is this okay? And does it fit into the sustainability picture?
Can you tell us about the Ellen MacArthur Foundation New Plastic Economy Global Commitment? This is very cool.
This is one of these very exciting initiatives where some of the biggest companies, global companies, have committed to sustainability around packaging, but also around plastic. So what that leads to is that even as a smaller company, if you are a supplier to them, even if you don't believe it or if you wouldn't believe into it, you have to support them to deliver their sustainability goals. In New Zealand, it's interestingly, Scion at the moment is also looking at a New Zealand-specific new plastics economy roadmap to understand what would it mean in our country, what is required, what type of plastic do we bring in, where is it used, how is it used, and what would appropriate then recycling or end-of-life infrastructure look like.
What sort of, I mean, I know Eugenie Sage was extremely passionate about single-use plastic. She's not, unfortunately, in this term to continue on that work. But what work is still underway to continue to potentially even tax unrecyclable products and some form of tariff coming into our country if we have to process that waste here?
So there is ongoing work that we have started last year and 2 years ago around the roadmap for the country. We are looking at specific fruit and produce labeling. We all know this in the compost that you have your fruit stickers there, and then when you put it in the compost, you will find them again even years later. And a couple of further of these initiatives to understand and minimize waste. So that's all still ongoing. But what we've seen, the commitment and especially the interest in consumers and companies is just growing, and there is nearly no company left that hasn't a sustainability goal, recyclability goal, or aspiration to do that. That is nearly hard to find.
That is absolutely fantastic. Now, as a leader in sustainable bio-based materials, can you tell us about the work on bioplastics and biomaterials, and particularly around the opportunities for our waste from our harvest and production systems and things like forestry and others?
So that's a great opportunity for us as a country. So New Zealand traditionally has not manufactured plastics or polymers. So we have imported plastics and polymers and turned it into our products. But here are two opportunities. One is the what traditionally was referred to as waste, as you said, actually is more and more considered a resource. So the terminology waste is something we want to rule out, and that can be the feedstock for specific bioplastic manufacture. So you could envisage you want to package a one of our great primary products, and the plastic or the packaging has been made of what has been produced as a side stream or a byproduct of the growing or harvesting process. So that's a truly circular story where the product is packaged in what it was grown or what it's grown from.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for all that you do, Florian. And I'm not going to let you off the hook. We are talking about Movember. I know it may sound a little bit silly and all the serious topics that we have on Serious Country, but it will be December by the time we're back with our next episode. So we have to celebrate. What's your thoughts on growing a mustache or beard over your lifetime?
I'm a happily married man, and I want to keep it that way.
Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful way. Joel, did you hear that? Sure, does Sarah have any issues with your beard?
Just not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that. Well, you might have to learn a thing or two from Florian. Thank you so much. That's Florian Graichen, the General Manager from Scion.
This is Sarah's Country.